Yo, chat, what's up? My bad. You guys know how I get when my song plays. When my song plays. My dog had just licked my toe. I feel assaulted. Ma'am. Ma'am. She knows I'm streaming, chat. She knows. Oh, God. Okay. They're all acting a mess now. Okay. Chat. What's up, everybody? Leah. So, for y'all that don't know, your girl missed the stream. I'm sorry. Leah held it down low. She was trying to find me. I was deceased. But I'm back. And I'm on the attack, chat. Guess why I'm on the attack? Guess why? Guess why? Chat. Yes. It's because I just booked the first stream segment for MWP. Let's give it a clap. Let's give it a clap. Let's give it a clap. Speaking of MWP, where my people at? Where my people at? Gang. Okay, that would explain it. Gag. I didn't press flag. I only pressed record. My butt. Okay. What's up? Yo, what's up? Yo. Okay, so would you listen to my new album on SoundCloud? Yeah. Drop that link, buddy. I'm always happy to do a little review ski for the MWP ski. No problem, bro. Ski. What type of genre do you do? Just so I can so I can prepare myself. Ooh, okay. Nah, fire. Ooh. Not the rage. We got a little anger. We got a little anger on us. Okay, lit. Okay, you said that's the link. Didn't get it. I'm not gonna hold you. And I'm not gonna lie. MWP, I don't lie to you guys. Hold it. Yeah, no, bro, I didn't get the link. Just type in your user and for SoundCloud, and then I'll just copy paste. No problem, bro. We gonna listen to it though. Okay, so it's the same thing. Oh, amazing, easy as pie. I hate when people use different. You know what I mean? Like artists, especially, like they really want to be doing it, and they use like different names for everything. It's like, how am I supposed to find you? Okay, broski, let's do it right now. Nah, bruh. MWP ski. We gotta listen to it right now. Ooh, okay, I see you. Yo, chat, look at this. Look at this thing right here. This look nice as hell. Okay, let's bring okay, a day ago, or like, oh, we got a whole
remember.
Did you make the beats? Ooh. Wow. Oh. 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 Oh.
You was throwing shade from the roof. No, too high, can't see. Yeah, I changed what you expect. You no trust, respect.
Oh.
Text, regret.
Oh.
Mostly that's your fucking day. You get to trust the whole damn man. Get fucked up.
Oh. Yeah. Um. Bro. Why the hell, bro? What is fuck, bro? Uh. Uh.
The producer's so dumb.
Whoa. My dude. This would go so crazy in the club. Oh my. Not the false end. Ooh.
You shouldn't have to choose between speed.
Embarrassing. Anyway, so that was amazing. So you just have this just out for everybody? Like dang, broski, you just out here like this? God damn. What did you start making? Like music and stuff? Okay, chat, so like we got cool people joining the MWP ski. For real ski, cause that's how we get down. 5 years! 5 years! Bro, you're mad good for 5 years. Bro, what the hell? That beat switched mad times. And you were good each time. That's mad hard. Do you know how hard that is? Chat, do you understand how hard that is? God dang. You listen to the album or one song? I can listen to one more song, broski. I can listen to one more song. I'm not gonna hold you. Whole album would be a lot right now. I am about to start my period, so like I just really need to react to something and let my mind go away. You know what I'm saying, chat? Like I just really need. So we're gonna listen to one more for Long Hell. Please go follow him. He's a part of the MWP. As you know, we support each other. And let's vibe. Let's vibe, bruh. Oh, scroll down? Okay, wait. Where? I'm so lost. Oh, this one? Okay, cool. So what's crazy is I can't.
Reliability and value. With Spectrum fiber-powered
Because
internet,
that.
you get all
Anyway, joke's on me. Okay, so let's wait until that ad goes away. So, like, chat, like, what do you guys, like, what's the vibe, guys? Like, anyway. Okay, we move forward, we live our life. Is there just another ad? I'm not gonna hold you. I should probably buy Spotify Go. Not a plug. Not a plug. But I hear it's good shit, high key. I hear it's good shit. Okay. I think this might be the actual. But now it's the wrong song. Oh. Hey. Okay. Yo, I love when you do this shit. Oh. Yeah, chilling right here. Hey. 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 Oh. Yo. Hey. Ooh. Oh. 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 Ah. Oh, you in no booth right now? Oh, no, don't. You don't stop. They don't stop, bruh. God dang, bruh. Chat, go follow this. Go follow this situation right here. This situation right here. You gotta go follow this guy. Oh yeah, bro. I already followed, so don't even worry. We gonna listen to the. Oh my god, my dog is licking between my toes. Sin Bobita. You know how weird it is to talk to people on the internet while somebody's licking your toes? Chat, how am I supposed to breathe, bruh? Oh my god. Look at this overgrown hamster right here I got. She cute as hell. Alright, chat. That was bonk. Anyways. Go support your fellow MWP. And let's keep it pushing towards what we were gonna do today, which is, I don't know, like bop around the internet. You know, this is, honestly, we're already doing what we were gonna do on it, high key. Oh yeah, wifey said I should say this is cream soda and not alcohol. I don't know why that's important. That's the distinction she told me to say. Am I live on Twitch? Nah, I'm not gonna hold you. I don't really like the purple app. She, you know, it's a weird place over there. I'm not gonna hold you. I know I would probably be a little bit bigger, but I don't know. I don't like Bezos. I don't like the CEO of Twitch. Like, I just don't like the whole vibe over there. They gave Kai Cenat sneakers as a thank you, I guess. Ugly ass sneakers. At that point, they're gonna give me what? A rose that they spray painted? Like, what am I really gaining? Anyway, so yeah, I'm hoping to get onto the Kick creator program so I can just work for the time I put in, because high key, I really like streaming for a long time, so anyway, but yeah, I'm mostly on Kick right now. Okay, so chatty chat. We've got this main man right here applying for Streamer U. He probably just wants to be like a professor, because his last what's it called? Not a seminar. What are they called in college? Fudging. Course? Either way, the class he taught last year was mad good. Actual education. Whoa, you can't follow me? Yo, Lon, what you talking about? Hold on. It's getting crazy. I have no idea. I get an error? Oh my god. My life. If I go on like a, what's it called? Why are you doing this? Hold on, chat. Now we gotta investigate.
Bornick's gonna beat Joffrey, so he's gonna get the win. Yeah. I have to sign in. I don't know, broski. That's so crazy. Huh. Well, let me know what happened with that. That's super annoying. Okay. Fudge, guys. What was I gonna do? I forgot. That just took me off my entire rhythm. Okay. Yeah, that was crazy. Have you guys seen this? This woman's insane. She cooks lasagna in the dishwasher to save wow. You know when you just watch stuff in the dead of night and you don't remember, like, everything that you were watching? And then it comes back to you in flashes and you're like, oh god. Put that back in the recesses. Anyway, yes. I was gonna watch a video. Thank you. Okay. What was the video? Did I pick one? I don't think I picked one. We're gonna figure this out. That's why I'm on the wrong account. I'm like, why is all of this trash? Why is it garbage? Why is my FYP garbage? Okay. Okay, people. Now we're looking at the good stuff. Okay. You know what? I could use some what's it called? Some motivation right now, chat. You know? I feel
Let's see what Firefly can do. I
Like I'm dropping the ball in a lot of places in my life right now, and I just really need to get out of that, get out of that funk. Oh, my bad. Wait a second. Rating chat. Do you make music? Yeah, bro. I make so much music, my guy. Just type in any wins anywhere. My guy, my do. I gotta make gotta set up like a chat reminder for my music. I'm not really good at promoting it. I'm not gonna hold you, chat. I'm very bad at it, but I'm trying. Hey, I'm trying. Okay, anyway. Let's get into this. No effort is wasted.
Like the person I was talking to said something to me that I had been thinking in my head for not been thinking with words. They were just thoughts bouncing around, and I needed to hear them said. I am always wary of sharing things that I think are important when it comes to how one might live a life. There are many good ways to live lives and a very wide variety of circumstances, but I think there is something here, so I want to share it. You could take it or leave it, though the way that I'm about to say it will not sound that way. The conversation that I had was with Winaloo, who makes the connections boards that I play sometimes.
Oh my god, you know when you can just tell when people are cool as fuck? That flash of that woman, of that person, right? You can't tell me this doesn't look like the coolest human. Bruh. Like, what is that even? I don't know, but it looks cool as fuck. It's gotta be from, like, places she visited or some shit. It's organized? I've never seen it. I've never seen it in my life. Okay, anyway.
Winaloo, who makes the connections boards that I play sometimes on this channel at the end of the videos, so basically I am a fan of her work. So we were not talking about connections, we were talking about her art, which she does not like to call art, which is interesting. I would call it art. They're not connections boards, but physical objects. And I don't know why, but it made a weird kind of sense to me that this kind of person who makes like crossword puzzles would also make art like hers. So there are kind of two ways to think about developing skills, or developing really yourself, your abilities. And the first is where you imagine skills to be like a thing that you acquire in a linear progression. You study chemistry to become a chemist, you study music to become a musician, you study nursing to become a nurse. And there are certain jobs, like nurse is a great example, where this is a requirement, and it should be. I don't want a nurse who didn't go through the linear progression of the acquisition of skills and knowledge that resulted in them being qualified to be my nurse. But that nurse is not only a nurse. Two nurses may have roughly the same experiences when it comes to nursing, but very different experiences when it comes to like knitting or playing guitar or public speaking or rock climbing. This, of course, seems pretty unrelated to the part of their job where they are nursing, and it is. But because so much of our education system is focused on the acquisition of skills for work, we tend to think of ability as like a linear progression provided by schooling, but actually every person I have ever met is not like that. Somewhere deep down, they're a junk drawer. They're just a bunch of things that you might need and you could use or not.
That's literally why, my guys, this is literally why I push communism over socialism. Socialism, hold on, let me get on my soapbox. Because socialism puts importance on suffering for the work you put towards your community. Communism is just like, nah, if you want to make something, but like, let it benefit the community, my guy. Like, we're all drunk drawers of information, likes and dislikes. It's beautiful shit, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, what if you were like a person that loved making the coolest looking glasses you could imagine? That was just your shtick for nothing but self-fulfillment. What if that was you? Wouldn't you go through making several iterations? Where would that go? Oh, I don't know. Maybe you could give them out to the public for free skis because, you were going to make these anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's just something I've been thinking about. Chat. Either way, move forward. My bad. Okay.
At some point, you acquire a weird little tool and you forget about it. And that's not going to be useful in nursing until it is. You learn a way of seeing things different. You learn a way of explaining things differently. You learn how to be like confused with yourself without immediately escaping into despair. You get all these things that like pile up in the junk drawer that is you, and then years later some situation appears and one of those old things in the drawer says like, oh hey, that's what I'm for. I have been well served by being a pretty deep junk drawer. Like, I studied chemistry. I am not a chemist. I was a car blogger for a while. I have designed databases and raised money for nonprofits, and I did stand-up comedy, and I designed logos, but they were bad. I have started and grown companies. I have sold a company. I turned one company into a nonprofit. I've made podcasts. I wrote books. I sold another company that I shouldn't forget. I once said to a person who acquired a company from me, was that your first acquisition, about a thing that wasn't my company that he acquired from me? And he said, no, Hank, you were our first acquisition. That's the junk drawer, man. Many of the things that I have done, I no longer do. Like, I know what an Erlenmeyer flask is. You shouldn't put me in a chemistry lab. Like, it's been too long. But a lot of that stuff is in me, and I never know when it's gonna come up and be useful. And like, that's just the things that I'm comfortable sharing. There are lots of failures in my life that I'm not telling you about. They're boring, I promise. It's not just that they're embarrassing. And all that stuff, whether it was a failure or not, does stuff. They affect how I am in the world. Like, I notice things that I wouldn't otherwise notice. I love being a junk drawer. The stuff in there changes the kinds of problems I feel like I am allowed to encounter and manipulate. I think that this is very important. Your brain is going to say that the junk drawer is full of useless stuff, and the useful things are all the linear paths that take you from one place to another. But that's not what Winaloo said to me. She said, in kind of like, this isn't a big deal kind of way, like she was just passing through to another thought, she said, no effort's wasted. There may be no more important idea right now, especially considering
the way that my wife drills this into me every time I like lose faith in myself. Just for a second. Bro, get you one of those. Chat, whatever you like, get you one of those, okay?
Tools that will absorb a lot of effort for you, in which maybe you will accomplish a task, but you will not accomplish the important task, which is to put a new thing in your junk drawer. Or another way of saying it, build yourself. You know, actually be more than you were before. Of course, I get it. Like, my brain wants to know which effort is
literally what I do as a streamer, guys. Like, I want MWP to be more. Hey, I want myself to be more too. Don't worry. I'm including myself. You guys know I don't know nothing. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah.
Pay off before I do all of the effort. It wants to conserve energy. It wants short paths. Of course it does. It is a very energetically expensive, calorie-hungry, wet prediction machine. And they're good at predicting that hard things are going to be hard. And so they're like, don't do that. Find an easier way. And we have many easier ways that have been provided for us by people who are themselves actually thinking quite hard and probably working very hard so that they can do that for us. I don't think that we should always use their tools, is all. Because as good as your brain is at predicting what is going to be hard and what's going to be easy and how to have like the task get done with a low effort, what your brain can't do is tell you which egg is going to become the fish. The ocean sunfish, the mola mola, can release hundreds of millions of eggs at once. Hundreds of millions. A whole civilization of possible fish launched cloacally into the ocean. Almost all of them do nothing for the continuation of the mola species. If you were to round to the nearest percent, 0% of them survive. And you can look at that and see it as a waste. Like, obviously, you are wasting almost every egg. Almost all of the energy that went into the making those eggs is wasted. Obviously, that's not true, though, because this is the only thing that makes it so that mola mola continue to exist in the world. They would go extinct if they did not do this. The mola mola cannot know which of the 5 eggs are going to be the ones that survive. If they made 5 eggs, they would not be the 5 that survive. They'd make 5 eggs, and then the species would go extinct. The only way to make the 5 adults was to make all 200 million eggs. No effort is wasted. And yeah, I made it into a shirt somewhere. A 1,000-pound fish is basking in the sun with no memory of being one of the millions. No idea why it lived. It only knows it kept going. And that was enough, because that was everything. No effort is wasted. Be enormous. Be eternal. Swim with your nature. Designed in Australia by Pepper Raccoon, printed in Missoula, Montana, with a combination of gold fleck and glow-in-the-dark inks. Available only for the next 2 weeks, so we can print the exact...
I actually don't know what's going on, but I need to sample it. Because what in the absolute fuck is this man talking about? What is he blathering about? I don't
Millions.
know.
A whole civilization of possible fish launched cloacally into the ocean. Almost all of them do nothing for the continuation of the mola species. If you were to round to the nearest percent, 0% of them survive. And you can look at that and see it as a waste. Like, obviously, you are wasting almost every egg. Almost all of the energy that went into the making of those eggs is wasted. Obviously, that's not true, though, because this is the only thing that makes it so that mola mola continue to exist in the world. They would go extinct if they did not do this. The mola mola cannot know which of the 5 eggs are going to be the ones that survive. If they made 5 eggs, they would not be the 5 that survive. They'd make 5 eggs, and then the species would go extinct. The only way to make the 5 adults was to make all 200 million eggs. No effort is wasted. And yeah, I made it into a shirt somewhere. A 1,000-pound fish is basking in the sun with no memory of being one of the millions. No idea why it lived. It only knows it kept going.
Yes.
And that was enough, because that was everything. No effort is wasted. Be enormous. Be eternal. Swim with your nature. Designed in Australia by Pepper Raccoon. Printed in Missoula, Montana, with a combination of gold fleck and glow-in-the-dark inks. Available only for the next 2 weeks, so we can print the exact number ordered. Tonight, we feast on the labor of centuries. Mola cult. No effort is wasted. This is what baby mola look like. They look kind of like pufferfish because they're related to pufferfish. Pepper did an amazing job with this. I love it so much. Also simultaneously doing a bunch of other products.
Okay, there we go.
Our older designs, but only for 2 weeks. Pre-order means
oh my
we
God,
do not
the
produce
cups?
too many. We do not produce too few.
Damn, I'm in the way.
We take the exact number that are
Should I
ordered.
move my camera? I've been thinking about
we
it.
close it
Either
down.
way.
We order exactly that amount. We print them up and then we send them out to you, which saves everybody money and also prevents potential waste. Most of it.
I gotta post something, Rocco. We've got something, Rocco.
What was that commercial? That made me mad.
Goes into the
Bro,
junk
what the
drawer
fuck?
and
All right,
never
whatever,
comes
whatever.
out. It doesn't become a job. It doesn't become a viral video. You don't get to have the Queen story where you're like, yes, very strategically, I developed a relationship with a Kerbal Space Program streamer who I knew eventually would end up at a launch live streaming YouTube channel. No, I didn't know any of that. I just liked his live streams and I was like, I like your stuff and that's it. That was it. And I thought that was it. I thought that was just junk drawer, but now he works for one of these like launch live streaming YouTube channels, and that's great that like I know a guy there. I assumed that he was still doing what he was doing back then and had the same job, which was a cool job, but that's not what he's doing now. Thanks to the guys at NASA Spaceflight. You're doing great work. Most effort just disappears into the ocean, but in general, if you can find the eggs to make, some of them will hatch, which is a gross metaphor that I don't like. But I have finished writing this script, and I have a terrible news for you. The eggs is the metaphor I went with. Finding the eggs can actually be hard. There's a kind of advice that like kind of sounds like, ooh, I know where the eggs are, which is like, do hard things, because hard things are good. Be awake at 4 a.m., take a cold shower, eat boiled chicken out of a shoe. It has to be out of a shoe. You only need 1 chair. That often to me seems more about like showing the effort than the actual exerting the effort. It can also seem more about like suffering and gathering attention around yourself. I think suffering is bad. Like, suffering can definitely be pointless. That's not what I'm saying when I'm talking about exerting effort. Sometimes things are hard because nobody cares enough to make them humane, and that's a problem that maybe you can apply yourself to. Some hard things are definitely
You know
garbage,
what problem we need fixed, chat? No. This is legit, okay? I'm a consumer at the end of the day. Okay? Because that's what America made me. Okay. Can someone figure out, if you guys need a business idea, here it is. Can somebody please figure out how to make brushing your teeth like either like a gizmo that I can just insert, and it's done, something. Because what? We are in 2026. Why am I still brushing my teeth like it's like fucking 20 BC? Like, what's going on? It's mad ghetto. I feel like a caveman every time you know what? I got really passionate there, and I'm sorry you had to see that, chat. If someone could make that, that would be
Get me
great.
wrong. But other hard things are reps. Like, just they get easier with time and
I'll
practice,
invest.
and
I'll
that's
invest. Don't worry,
definitely an
Chad.
egg.
I'll
And
invest.
who knows what that egg will become. There are tons of things that have this friction inside of it, that have the effort. Learning is definitely one of them. Making something from scratch.
Learning, bruh. Learning. Make sure you only learn shit you actually want to learn. Because when you learn shit you don't want to learn, oh my god, the amount of effort, it becomes like 1,000-fold. Oh my god, I remember that in fucking public school, bro. They would cram so much shit I didn't want in my brain, and I would spend nights going over the shit because I would be like, why is it not going in my brain? Because I didn't want to learn it at that time. How about that? How about this wasn't the time for me to learn this shit?
And becoming a person who can even like take those first steps, it often requires the experience of having not been able to do something yet and then gotten good at it. And that's not always a great experience. Like, it's definitely not available at no cost. I wouldn't call it suffering though, but it is effort. You don't get good at stuff without the discomfort of an experience progressing into experience. There's this phrase in learning science that I like. It's called the desirable difficulties. So there's undesirable difficulties, but there are desirable difficulties. A kind of a messy idea, but somewhat useful. Some kinds of learning feel worse in the moment, and then they work better later. And that's too bad, but it seems to be how a lot of things work. Like, the struggle itself makes it more memorable. It forces the brain to like build structure around it. The difficulty actually is in service of something. It's an egg. You don't know. It's probably never going to become anything, but it's an egg. Why are you teaching me this thing in school? When am I ever going to use this in the future? I don't know. It's an egg. Most things don't become useful in the future. Now, I do think that there are some things where this is easier and some things where this is harder. And I'm going to give you two examples. The first one is guitar, which I think is a more kind learning process, and the second one is like making a YouTube video, which is less kind. And you will see that like not all eggs grow themselves equally.
That
so,
stuff.
Guitar,
Making your first what is it? YouTube video. That's the Suffer Olympics right there in and of itself. You're just like, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what, and then you gotta listen to.
This is terrible. Let's be honest with ourselves. Often enough, though, especially
Terrible time.
in your first year or two of learning, you can hear yourself getting better day after day. Sometimes in a single practice session, you will have a skill at the end that you did not have at the beginning. Things like exercise can also be the same. Like, you know when you're lifting more than you were before. You know when you're running longer and faster than you were before. These are things that
Chad, I've been doing push-ups.
The effort, but you also get the feedback and the reward, and that makes it so that you want to put in more effort. And I like this. I like things like this. I wish more things were like this. Writing doesn't feel like this. Like, I know that I have become a better writer after having written a lot, but I never at the beginning of writing one essay, by the end, I'm like, oh, I figured out how to write better. No, like, it's always bad. It always feels miserable. And always a little bit, your taste is outpacing your ability, which is also true of music. So that's not really juxtaposed. I know that I've gotten better at writing, but I never feel like I'm getting better at writing. I can go back to read stuff that I wrote a long time ago and be like, oh, that's bad. But only a long time ago. Like, it has to be years. It has to be years before I notice an improvement in the skill. And even when I do, I have a hard time articulating what the improvement is in a way that is very easy with music. And that goes double when it comes to writing and then producing and then releasing a YouTube video. The reward of it being a good piece of content actually isn't what gets shouted to me. So if I play a chord and it sounds like correct, I know that. Whereas if I make a good YouTube video, but the thumbnail is bad, or like I didn't write it for the right audience, or like the algorithm hasn't identified, even the audience does exist, the algorithm doesn't know how to find it. And opposite, you can absolutely have a YouTube video that's bad, that's like bad for the world, but extremely clickable. Like this cursed object that does damage that nonetheless the machine will shove into people's faces. And that will feel like success, even if the product itself isn't very good. I give you those two examples just to know, like, some things are good at providing you with like pure and true feedback about how you are progressing, and those are like easier ways to build the egg, and some are like sometimes give you no feedback. You don't know whether you're getting better, or even they can give you like the wrong feedback, and it's very confusing. So that's harder. I don't have advice about it. I was like, be aware. Sometimes you make and you make and
I really thought he was going to give me a solution at the end of that. Wow.
I was like, the analogy is it's thinning, you know? It's losing its grip. But at the end of this, he's gonna give me a solution to this problem. Nope. What the fuck? Anyway, so we move forward. Don't kill the crybaby. What's going on here? Alright. Alright. Okay. Right, so what the fuck is that? Oh, we're supposed to feed the baby? Wait, hold on, child. Let's feed the baby. It literally says 0 people have... Okay. Uncle Sam is crazy. How do you... I actually don't have patience to... Oh my god! Bro. I'm so gagged. Look at him go. Oh! Work out in the chat. How does a baby work out? I'm over it. I'm over it. Chat, what the fuck is going on? Oh my gosh. Okay, let's get some education. Let's research it first. Trump phone. What this is now? Ooh. Okay, the TI isn't just another smartphone. Okay. It's a bold step towards American values in mind, the performance, sleek, inflated price tag. Okay, let's see here. Yeah. American proud design. What the fuck does that even mean? What the fuck does that even mean? What are we talking about now? This is the worst website I've ever seen. Okay, you know what?
Today we're here to introduce...
It was an
Why?
ambitious promise.
We're going to be manufacturing the phones.
A phone at $499 made entirely right.
Guys, this is already screaming North Korea. I'm listen. This is already Do you hear me? Okay.
Here in the US. We wanted to see if that claim was legit. Thank you for your order, Brian Chung. Placing an order ourselves and waiting for months.
Why is he so chipper?
Here we are in May of 2026, and there appears to be no sign of it until last month when Trump Mobile sent us a device they said was going out to some members of the media. There's a Truth Social preloaded onto the phone. Aside from that gold yellowish back, the phone appeared to resemble the U24 Pro, an Android phone made by Taiwanese company HTC.
So what's the point?
It looks very similar. It has a very distinct shape.
Yeah, that does look really similar. To confirm that, we headed to iFixit's offices in San Luis Obispo, California, where lead teardown engineer Shahram Makhtari offered to help us run some tests, including through a modified CT scanner.
Let's unlatch it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so there it is. Which gave us an inside look at the T1 phone's guts, which looked eerily similar to a scan that iFixit ran for the HTC phone.
Without cheesing, tell me which one's which.
So it's just rebranded garbage. Okay, cool. Good to know.
Left image, the HTC. The T1 on the right.
It's
the battery,
okay.
cameras, boards,
Yeah,
mostly
it's
in the
okay.
exact same place, with the exception of the flash. But Makhtari and I wanted to take an even closer look, with the help of an industrial-grade microscope to see the pixels in the T1 screen.
This is a pentile layout,
Why?
and it's in Samsung's patented diamond layouts in particular. Definitely not made in the United States as far as I know.
The same design seen in the HTC that iFixit ran under the same microscope. One more check to do, cracking it open. We're really going to test to see if this is truly just an HTC U24 Pro reskin for Trump Mobile. First off, I should remark that I literally see the word the Philippines. Breaking it down piece by piece, confirming that the parts are nearly identical to the HTC U24 Pro.
All right.
The 3 cameras, as you point out.
I'm over it. Wasn't that the whole shtick that it's made in the US? I'm over it. I was really bonk how fast they were able to just debunk that. Anyways, man. What? What do I mean?
Reach future fans, A&Rs, and beyond. Introducing Buzzing.
A $200,000 Lego collection went missing, causing a lot of you to ask me to find it. And after seeing the cops point guns at YouTubers, people get arrested and sued for $1.3 million, I decided enough was enough. This looks like a...
I forget that Coffee Zilla starts off so crazy. Bro, how does this man not have a Netflix show? Tell me right now, chat. Give me one good reason why this man doesn't have a Netflix show. Because damn. All right. Chat, we need to take an intermission because Juan, his dog's going bonk. I still haven't gotten her the thunder shower. I know. That's why I need. That's why I need to get. I need to get these freaking into this creator program so I can afford my girl to get a thunder shower. Okay, so I gotta give her some food, and then gotta get myself some food, and then gotta lock back in. Okay, so intermish, get some fits, water. I'll be back. Give me like 2 to 5. Give me 2 to 5. Ma'am, can you please? Do you see her? She's like, please don't let go of me. Ma'am, you're coming with me. It's okay. We're gonna come together. Yeah, okay. All right. Together. It's your sister. What are you doing? What the fuck? Ma'am, how did you get in there? Oh my god. What is wrong with you? What's actually wrong with you? How did that happen? How did that happen? How? You're such a bud. Wow. Chat, my kitten was trapped in the cabinet this entire time. How'd she get in there? I don't know. Oof. My foot's asleep. Open stuff. What's that? There's still a whole other level you heard, but yeah. Okay. Hey, 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 that's my bitch. Hey, 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 that's my bitch. Anyway, sorry guys, I've been re-listening to GNX by Ken. That's good shit. Okay. Whoa, I forgot I was heating up a burger. My burger! Oh no! Gosh. Wait. No. That's heated up now. So I kind of nuked my burger. I'm a little bit upset, but we'll move forward. Maybe I should get an apple because, like, I have food, but I still haven't have no food because I'm not about to eat a nuke burger right now. That's piping hot. We're ready. I've got my snackums. Okay. Oof. Trying to do better with my diet. So I've got this seaweed. Need some fiber, you know. Yep. Definitely one of those foods I gotta pretend I like, you know. But we're getting it. Okay. Back into it. So, this is all about a bunch of missing Legos. Bada bing.
Case for the internet detective, this time in the $10 million Lego studio. So I talked to every suspect involved. What I found shocked me.
Not him turning everybody into Legos. Amazing stuff.
Okay, before we can find these missing Legos, let's give some background. A massive Star Wars collection was put on consignment at a Lego store called Bricks and Minifigs in Salem, Oregon. Consignment just means the owner, Brian Mansell, gave it to a store to sell, and he was supposed to get a cut when it sold. The entire time, he maintained ownership of the collection, and a social media post estimated it to be worth about $200,000. But then, on November 14th, 2024, everything went wrong. This was the night that Crystal and Ben Gorman, the prior franchise owners of the Salem store, got kicked out by this guy. What? That is Brandon Best. He and his partner, Josh Johnson, ran a sister store in Eugene, Oregon. And Brandon drove up that night to kick the Gormans out. Brandon and Josh would be taking over the franchise in Salem. Why? And this is the exact moment the Legos go missing. As that store is getting handed over, the question is Brian's collection in it? Here's what the official Bricks and Minifigs press release reads. Quote, after taking over the store, we discovered a small number of sets valued between $2,000 to $5,000 that could be possibly related to Mr. Mansell's collection.
Yeah.
The problem, there should be over 10 times that amount in this store, given their internal records and what we know the estimated value of this collection was.
Yeah.
So if saying there was only $2,000 to $5,000 in the store, something happened to these Legos. But what? In order to solve this case, let's think about the suspects. First, who was there that night of the handover? It's only 3 people. Crystal and Ben Gorman, the former franchise owners, and Brandon Best, one of the new owners. These are our 3 biggest suspects, but they aren't the only ones. I want to address a few other suspects at the very start here. First of all, maybe this is just all the result of, plain old thieves breaking in. What about that possibility?
That doesn't really make any sense.
Hi, I am Chris. I was the previous franchise owner who signed the collection agreement with Brian Mansell.
And I'm Benjamin Gorman. I am the silent partner who's really bad at being silent.
We did have a couple of break-ins at the store. None of Brian's collections were in the police report or stolen during those.
Okay, so the Gormans say emphatically it wasn't thieves.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, what about the guy who was arrested? I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Reckless Ben. This is the YouTuber who started it all. With a documentary, I tracked down the thief who stole $200,000 of Lego.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the perfect crime. Make a video tracking yourself. Now, for our theory, it's worth noting
Chat,
Ben
that
is
doesn't
currently
make any
facing
sense.
a RICO lawsuit by Bricks and
Ma'am.
Minifigs. He was even targeted
please.
with a search warrant for stolen Legos.
Included in the warrant are Legos.
The owner reported overhearing conversations about possible stolen Legos.
And on top of that, Reckless Ben was
Not
even
trying to
accused
frame
of
this
stealing the
man.
Legos by the current franchise owner.
I stole the Legos?
What do you think of the theory
You
that it
stole
was
them is
Reckless Ben?
crazy.
He stole the Legos.
It's absurd. We didn't even know Reckless Ben. He
Yeah.
had no interaction, no relation to us, no relation to the store. That doesn't hold any water.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. Apologies to the genius cops in Utah who play different.
We play differently here.
But I don't believe that Reckless Ben stole the Lego, mostly because
Gag.
he couldn't. He just wasn't there that night, and I don't even think he knew about these Legos. But who does Ben suspect is holding the Legos since he did this whole documentary series?
The guy who runs the entire company, Ammon McNeff, he personally came out to talk to us.
So you guys are holding some of our Legos? You're not? Is that a lie? No. That's a lie.
No.
You did take the Legos.
This guy's a terrible liar. He's looking away. These are telltale signs. He's looking away, looking down. My guy. His voice, his inflection is high. Like, give me a break.
Brian Mansell.
Okay, and who is that?
He's a guy who had he had like $200,000 worth of Legos in your guys' store.
Okay, well that's just...
My name is
That's
Ammon
just a
McNeff.
lie.
I am the CEO of the Bricks and Minifigs brand.
So my name's Matt McNeff. I'm the COO of Bricks and Minifigs.
The people you just saw are the McNeff brothers. They agreed to speak with me to try to clear their name. I asked them, do they have the Legos?
What I can tell you is that we don't have it. We've never had access to them.
Gag.
Seems
What
to
I
kinda
can
go
tell you is
missing.
already crazy.
Parts of it seem to go missing on November 14th.
Well, and I guess no, not at all. I'm going to say, like that is not accurate at all. Because
So you think that the collection was in the store at the time or elsewhere?
Elsewhere. When you look at Mansell's own words that he reiterated to a podcast last year, he explicitly stated to another podcaster, the sets were moved off-site for security.
The collection will not be stored on site after hours for security reasons, and after Sunday, the sets will be available for purchase but stored elsewhere.
Now, one thing that's been a big subject of the Bricks and Minifigs kind of story is, hey, there are these off-site locations. Can you address what that is? Is that true?
So the offsite location in the letter that that corporate is referring to is the original press release that we released when we were launching the collection. In that press release, because we had previous break-ins, I specifically included the location that after this weekend, those Legos would be stored off-site to deter any future thefts. They were briefly stored off-site after that launch weekend while I bought safes for the back room, and then they were moved back into the store.
Okay, so for most of the time, the sets were in the store after y'all got the safes in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. My hands.
Okay, so Ammon McNeff suspects that a lot of the Legos weren't there that night. And then on the other hand, we just heard from Crystal and Ben Gorman explaining the off-site story, saying that later they no longer used those off-site locations. But what do we really know about the Gormans? They are the former franchise owners after all. I mean, shouldn't we be suspicious of everyone? They're one of our key suspects. They were there the night we lost Brian's collection. They were the creators of the consignment deal after all.
Right.
And one group in particular is pointing their finger at them very hard. It's the McNeffs, who say they were behind on payments.
We started getting calls from the landlord letting us know that Crystal was behind on the lease payments at the location. We had also gotten a couple of notices from some of our vendor partners that bills had not been paid by the store. And so we felt pretty strongly that there was going to be a risk of her just, like attempting to file bankruptcy, doing some of these other types of things, which we've had franchisees do in the past, and that's problematic. So that's why we sent him up there to take some video footage. So we needed to just be prepared if we needed to do a hostile takeover, which, can happen in franchising where a franchise owner just, kind of tries to steal inventory and do some different things that way.
Okay, so Bricks and Minifig's story is that they were worried about the Gormans skipping town, so they sent Brandon Best as a secret shopper on October 24th, 2024. This is weeks before the takeover. Brandon takes a video of the store condition in preparation for this handover, but at this point, Brandon does not announce himself to Crystal Gorman. Later, though, on November 14th, once again, the same concern about the Gormans stealing or theft was expressed by the McNeffs.
Brandon was trying to make sure that they weren't taking things from the store, and so he was kind of trying to make sure that he wasn't putting things, like hiding things in the back, and that and while he was watching that, trying to make sure Ben wasn't grabbing stuff from the store and moving it or doing anything along those lines, because he just got a weird feeling about the whole transition.
She took at least one, if not more than one, cartfuls of things out to her car with her coat draped over it.
So yeah, the McNeffs say, look, they don't trust the Gormans. And they explained it, even further. They said, hey, there's some issues in her past.
Apparently has a retail theft and other criminal arrests on her record that we were not aware of.
When was that?
I don't know. This has been brought out by several people online now.
Now, look, that's a huge accusation to bring up. And so obviously I wanted to talk to the Gormans about it.
They're like, she has a history of some type of burglary, theft.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, yes.
Well,
you know about this.
Explain.
Yeah, when I was 19 years old.
How long ago is that?
I am 45 now.
Oh!
So this was in 1999. This, something that happened 25 years ago, has no reflection and no bearing on what happened in the last 2 years, my management of the store, what happened the night corporate seized the store. It is another deflection. And it infuriates me. You're going to try to publicly embarrass and shame me for somebody that was manipulated by local police departments when she was pregnant and 19 years old. F you. That's my response to that. I am so sorry. You're going to have to blur and cut a lot of this, but that pisses me off. I own what I have done. I own the mistakes that I have made. You cannot intimidate and bully me into backing down when I know that legally and morally I am in the right and I have the evidence to back it up.
Wow, this is getting kind of nasty and personal at this point.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to give people kind of their side. But at every turn, I hope you understand, I'm getting contradictory stories.
No, legit.
Knew about her.
Hold on, chat. I gotta wash my hands. It's actually making me overwhelmed. Okay. Ooh. Oh God, she's back. Hi, Bonita. Oh God. Wow. I came from within. I was ready to shit. Oh man. Woo! Okay. Okay. Oh my God. Close. Oh. Whoa. Chad, I'm gonna do some narcotics. Hold on. Oh my god, I got cheese in my ear. Oh man, my lighter's out! Oh, I didn't do that right at all. Yeah. Somebody come get her. Okay. Okay. What happened to it? You wanna come up here? Okay. I'll allow it. Come on, you little butt. Don't eat my seaweed. Crazy.
History in the first place.
Like, they're bringing up something that I told them about.
Wait. You told them?
Told them. They asked me.
They said they had no idea. They said if we knew, we would have never hired her.
Because we would not have hired her had we known this.
I told them I had a record from when I was 18. There was a family issue and didn't go into all of the details, but they were like, that's so long ago. We're going to hire you based on who you are now.
Okay, I'm just going to leave it there. You guys can make up your own mind. My point is, one side says up, the other says down. And it gets to the point, both sides start hinting that they have photographic proof from the night of November 14th that proves
both
the
sides?
other side is lying. And so I'm like, look, at this point, let's stop talking. Show me the Legos.
Where I was told we are 100% have possession of photos that prove that the Gormans are lying. And then you guys are telling me we 100% have possession of photos that prove this side's lying. Who's going to drop the photos first? I mean, I feel like someone just has to, somebody's right here.
Now, after a lot of convincing, both sides agreed to show me the photos, corporate and the Gormans. In fact, I scheduled the calls to do this an hour apart from each other. But let's remember their positions for a second. The Gormans say whatever was left unsold of Brian's collection that was in that store spreadsheet was in Salem store the night of November 14th. Then you have corporate side. They say whatever was left that night was maybe $2,000 to $5,000 of Legos. The rest was either stolen by thieves, the Gormans, or held off site. It was not in that store. And on both sides, there's a lot to lose here, right? You've got the Gormans, who basically have been insinuated to have been stealing. And for Josh and Brandon, too, the new franchise owners, there's a lot on the line. I reached out to Josh, and he told me, I think her pictures would only show a few sets and minifigs. I replied, so if I can prove that the Lego sets were in the store, that will prove Brandon was lying. Josh replies, if it shows something different, then yes, I will eat my words. So the stakes have been established. And let's see the evidence. Starting with Matt McNeff. First, he showed me the video, October 24th, 2024, for a baseline of how the store looked.
So this is the Salem Kaiser location, is that correct?
This is the Salem Kaiser location, yes.
So is it fair to say I'm seeing quite a few Legos here? I mean, I'm seeing a store of Legos. You'd agree?
There's a good amount of Lego on hand. This isn't what I would say is a well-stocked Bricks and Minifigs, but it's not terrible. It's I would say a little below average as far as overall stock. So now let's go to November 14th. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So November 14th, when Brandon was in there helping.
Wait, this is the day. This is like the big day.
This is the day.
Hold on, I gotta prep myself emotionally for this.
Okay.
This is a big deal. This is D-Day. This is the big moment. This is Brandon takes over the store. We don't know where the Legos are after this moment.
We don't know where the Legos are after this moment. And I want to point out again that we've had this for a while. We haven't this is the first time we've shown this publicly. We've been waiting for our attorneys to give us the approval to say, hey, this is okay now to share in this capacity. So we'll go through these pictures.
People keep asking how we actually get an AI agent on our team. Well, it's easy. Watch how I do it in 60 seconds on one.
This is what Josh saw, Brandon saw. He took pictures of everything in the store, all the inventory in the store. This is what the shelves looked like compared to what you just saw a moment ago.
Okay, so I'm seeing a lot less. Just to state the obvious, go back a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm seeing like way less.
So yeah, the pictures I was being shown on November 14th, those shelves looked emptier than they did on the day of October 24th. But to be fair to the Gormans, they addressed the empty shelves themselves.
As we get to the very end of this video in particular, right here, you'll see that empty space right here. So this is the retired and certified set section that we have to keep separate from the new in box current sets being sold by Lego. All those empty spaces up there were the sets that we had on display during the day from Brian's collection that every night when the store closed, we pulled off and put back into the safe and then put back out in the morning.
So when they say, see, there's empty space on the shelves, yeah, because we put them in safes at night to keep them safe.
Because we have giant windows.
Yeah, it's an explanation that kind of makes sense given the history of burglary. Now, of course, this is something I had to ask the McNeffs about.
Is this a case of, did y'all see Star Wars sets in the back? Did y'all not see the Star Wars sets in the back? Did he take, not in the back, but specifically in a safe? Like there were a bunch of Star Wars sets in a safe. Did Brandon see those? Has there been talk of those? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. My understanding is that he took pictures of everything, and all those photos I showed you of the Star Wars were all the photos, or was literally all the Star Wars inventory in the store.
Yeah, the McNeffs say all of the photos should be with Brandon of all the Star Wars items. And to be fair to them, they showed me a lot more pictures and even showed me a spreadsheet of all the Star Wars sets in the store the night Brandon took it over. And it valued to about like $5,000 to $10,000 or so. But then I had to ask.
Oh, sorry, here's another kind of set.
Okay.
Do you think y'all have all of these?
Very likely.
Okay.
Again, I'd be surprised if we didn't.
But then I couldn't help myself. I started to bring up some of Crystal's photos to see if they matched up.
Have you seen this before?
Not that I recall.
So do you see that?
Yep.
So do you see it's in like some kind of like a safe thing? I don't know if you can see the sides there.
Looks like a bookshelf to me, but sure.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So I think the
bookshelf
important thing
is
is making
crazy.
sure that all of these are in the inventory.
That is
for
not
myself.
a bookshelf.
Sure.
Sure is crazy.
75041.
Yep. The Vulture Droid.
75169.
He does not want to do this.
169 I'm not seeing. So there may be... Okay. So there's one that is not on our list.
Yo, his face is turning so red.
10240.
Okay, nope, not seeing that one either.
What about 9493?
3. I don't see that one either. So maybe those were locked at the time, and Brandon did not get those pictures.
All right, that's kind of a problem because the Gormans had over 200 photos of this store.
Yeah.
I definitely knew looking at these photos, there's a lot more Legos in the Gormans photos by quite a lot that Brandon's photos just didn't show. But corporate didn't really see it that way.
But still, in the grand scheme of things, we're not talking, again, 10 times the amount of sets here.
I don't know.
Bro, what are you talking about? The ones in the safe have to be at least another, like, 10 grand for it to be in a safe. That's a crazy amount of money to just not leave into the conversation.
I haven't shown all the photos yet. I don't know exactly how much.
If there's a calculable figure that we can look at and say, great, this is what was there, I promise you it's not $100,000 worth of Lego.
It is.
And so where's the rest of it? He got me. I don't know.
Maybe I'm a little too in my head about this U-Haul story. You don't think it could have been some U-Haul thing? There's no way.
Oh, yeah. Have we talked about the U-Haul yet? We gotta talk about the U-Haul for a second.
There's a
This
U-Haul?
is another one of those things that was like really disputed between the two parties. Was this U-Haul that supposedly was driven up to the store the night of the takeover?
So when Brandon came to the store that night, he was driving a U-Haul truck.
Now, in typical fashion, this was immediately disputed.
Brandon showed up to the Salem store in a rental car. When he came to get the keys from Crystal, he was there in a rental car, not in a U-Haul.
It wasn't until after he told me he was taking the keys and locking me out that I really kind of paid attention to the fact that he had a large, not the small, the large U-Haul truck.
So yeah, I just kept hearing about this U-Haul truck. Now, why is it significant, U-Haul or not? Well, one, a U-Haul truck can fit a lot of Legos, but the big reason it mattered to me was because I was actually called by an ex-employee of the Bricks and Minifig store in Eugene, Oregon. Remember, that's the one that Brandon and Josh owned. And he told me something very interesting.
I'm a former employee, started in 2024, and I was working under the old store to Brandon, Dad, and Josh.
What store was this? Bricks and Minifigs where? Okay. Now, what did you see that made you want to talk to me?
I saw Reckless Ben's YouTube video about Salem store closing down because when I was talking to my co-workers about the situation about Salem, and what we were told through other employees that it was just that area to work in, it was like haunted, if you will, is what was going around. But after seeing the video of Reckless Ben, he exposed them, and it makes a lot more sense with what we dealt with Brandon and Josh. Like, oh, Crystal stole Lego sets and bolted out of the country.
Who says that?
Brandon Best told us.
Who's Crystal?
Dropping off all the Lego sets to us that night. It was a bunch of used Lego sets that were like saran wrap. They had Star Wars CD. It was just a lot of stuff. It was like a medium-sized U-Haul truck.
Wait. They brought a U-Haul truck.
Yeah, from Salem all the way to Eugene.
And to Eugene, and it had a bunch of Star Wars sets on it?
Yeah, Star Wars sets, like everything.
Yeah.
Wait, when and was this when they took over the store from Crystal?
I believe so, yes. Yes, because he said that Crystal stole Legos and left the country.
While he has a U-Haul of Legos?
Yeah. Guys, they did it. Guys.
We're just going to hold on to this stuff until corporate tells us where we have to distribute it. And we're like, oh, well, it'd make more sense if we could take it because we're kind of struggling with, the product to put on the shelves.
Oh my gosh. We really got to find out. Was there a U-Haul that night or not? Because everybody's disagreeing about it. This Eugene, Oregon guy says, oh yeah, a U-Haul showed up with Star Wars sets in it. Brandon was talking about the Salem store. You've got Matt McNeff saying there was no U-Haul there. It was a rental car. You've got Crystal saying, yeah, I thought it was really weird. There was a U-Haul truck there. So I told the McNeffs, I really got to find out what the truth is here.
If you know anything about it, let me know, because that's just something I heard.
I do, and it has nothing to do with the Salem store. Well, at least not the Salem store in the way that it is there. Brandon showed up to the Salem store in a rental car. when he came to get the keys from Crystal. He was there in a rental car, not in a U-Haul.
So when there was the handoff, there wasn't a U-Haul, it was a rental car.
Correct. He was there in a rental car.
Got it.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
You're leaving money on the table. Not because your
And what
content
if I
isn't good,
said,
but
I
because
don't
the tools
believe
you're
you,
using
sir?
weren't built to help you.
And I think any of the, like, if you were to look at the footage, the Ring cameras, all that stuff, you won't see a U-Haul sitting anywhere in the parking lot.
In hearing all of this, I realized.
Not you giving me evidence to disprove your claim. I will be looking at a ring camera.
Look, I just got to find the evidence. So I start sifting through these photos I have, right? I realize I have a parking lot photo. I check it. No U-Haul, just a red truck out there. I check another photo where you could see the window. But the problem is it's night outside, so you can't see. And so I'm looking at everything I can, and there's just nothing, you know? I have this alternate angle. I'm looking at that. And then, wait, zoom in on that photo. Bring up the brightness of this photo a little bit and...
Chat, they fucking stole all those Lego sets. Bro. See, this is exactly why you can't be trusting people sometimes. Okay.
My gosh. There's a U-Haul in the parking lot right outside of the store the night of November 14th, 2024. This is something that Matt said he had seen footage of, and it couldn't be true.
And again, I believe I have seen footage from that night that shows clearly out into the parking lot, and there's no U-Haul.
After seeing this, I said, I really have to make a call. And that's when the story changed.
So last night, I talked with Matt McNeff. I brought up this question of the U-Haul. He told me emphatically there was no U-Haul. Y'all came to me this morning. You said, hey, we looked into it. There actually was a U-Haul there that night. Can you clear up what that's about?
So there's actually two different things that are going on here, just to help you understand. And I don't know if you want this particularly not on the record, but we do know of a disgruntled former employee that worked at another location that back on the 24th of October, there was a U-Haul that went to a storage unit in Salem for another previous franchisee, like for a different situation that we had just, gone through some things, and he had a previously, like, hey, I have some inventory that I didn't turn over that I was supposed to. It's at this storage location. You guys can come pick it up. And so Brandon was sent on that day to pick up with a U-Haul inventory that then he moved down, but that was October 24th.
So when we're talking about this ex-employee, you're saying they are conflating the October 24th event of the U-Haul coming up to Eugene with Legos with some time after November 14th, after the store takeover. Is that correct? Am I understanding that?
Yes.
So this is now kind of a strange story. Corporate is saying there was a U-Haul at the Eugene store dropping off Lego, but that was from a different night, different collection. The CEO says Brandon showed up to Salem on October 24th for his secret shopper job with Crystal, and separately, he also was getting a different collection of Legos that also included Star Wars, and that's what he brought to the Eugene store, and the former employee is remembering. Then, weeks later, on November 14th, Brandon supposedly shows up again with a U-Haul, but the reason isn't for hauling Legos.
Brandon flew in to Eugene that night. At midnight. So
What is going on with the story?
Flew from Utah on the 13th, but landed in Oregon on midnight of the 14th. Went and got a rental truck. And then went and stayed
Try not to
at
lie,
a trailer
chat,
that had
'cause you look
previously
as
been moved
dumb
up
as
there
this fool right now.
in anticipation, meaning a camper trailer, in anticipation of the potential hostile takeover previously.
Is that why he had a U-Haul? Is that the reason he had a U-Haul was for this camper, or what's going on with the?
Yes. So then what happens is he takes his rental vehicle
So
truck.
then what happened was,
and he tries to connect the trailer, the camping trailer, to that truck, and it's not rated for that particular weight.
Right.
And he realized, oh crap. He called around and found that U-Haul had a rating for one of their box trucks, and so he grabbed that, went and got it at 10 a.m. on the 14th, and so
Are you
he then went
exhausted?
and
I'm exhausted.
hooked that trailer up to the camping trailer to a U-Haul, drove that trailer down to another location where he could set up the camping trailer in Salem, dropped off the camper trailer, and then he arrived in a U-Haul to the Salem store, and then went in, said hi to Crystal, and then as she was leaving, the door shuts, and so he locks it, calls the locksmith.
I'm sure it's very long. I'm
to finish
sure.
up the changing of the locks. Brandon at this point is pretty exhausted, so and he has an hour drive back to Eugene to drop off the rental truck.
Okay.
So he drops it off at midnight or 1 o'clock, something like that. Grabs the rental truck and then heads back up to the camper trailer in Salem, and then probably gets in at around 2 or 3 in the morning. Spends a couple of that's a little bit of sleep before he has to head back to the store at 9 a.m. before the other employees get there. The timeline that is trying to be portrayed just makes absolutely zero sense.
With base 44,
Sir, that timeline made
simple
no
sentence
sense at all. What are you talking
becomes
about?
Your website.
It's really the line for Freeskies for me.
Okay, so I asked, obviously, for documentation of all of this from Brandon. And here's what I got. First, the U-Haul contract on November 14th. This checks out what we already know. Then I got sent a photo. The last one Brandon took in the Salem store, dated 9:44 p.m., where you can see what looks like the inside of a bird cage that the Gormans had. And lastly, I was sent a photo Brandon took of the mileage in the U-Haul as he dropped it back off at the rental place on November 15th, 12:41 a.m. Now, the time gap there is about 3 hours between the last photo in Salem to dropping the U-Haul off, which is a bit of a problem for our timeline.
I mean, I worked till like 11 o'clock, and I'm like, I gotta get up early for my other job.
You moved 4 hours of Legos out of this truck.
All right. So as weird as this U-Haul thing is, the timeline just doesn't fit, to be honest. If it took 4 hours to unload, you can't also drive to another city, load and unload and drop off the U-Haul in that time.
Yeah.
But still, even if this is true, it's pretty weird. And it's one of the most bizarre stories I've ever heard, to have a U-Haul thing back to back. One of the times you're picking up Legos, the other time you're not, you're taking a camper. Nevertheless, without more proof, we kind of have to move on to another theory of how to find these missing Lego. This time, let's take the photographs that we have and reconstruct what was in the night on November 14th. Remember, that's the moment we lost the Lego. And this time, we're going to combine it with 2 more things. First, from corporate, I got the point of sale records from the Salem store from 2023 to 2024. And secondly, from Crystal Gorman, I got her internal records of Brian's inventory of what was sold or not in order to pay him and keep track of prices. Now, before we piece things together, I need to address something. At the beginning of this story, you saw the social post saying this collection was worth $200,000.
Yeah.
That's what everyone knows this story as, the $200,000 Lego collection. But sadly, that post was entirely wrong. In Crystal Gorman's inventory, which has a high and low estimate value of these various Lego items, the real estimated value is about $107,000. They give high estimates and low estimates, but that's right there in the middle. And for simplicity, I'll just be using averages and estimates here, but understand that, these numbers are not firm, given that they're unsold Legos. It's just rough possibilities. But the point is, it's worth nowhere near $200,000. And Reckless Ben, the one who made the original video covering this, said that surprised him.
Yeah, this entire time, literally every single person's been telling me there were $200,000. Like, that's how much, you could sell all these sets for.
My original assessment of about $200,000 was going up to his father's house and looking in 3 different rooms with all the sets. It was before I'd actually gone through and had set numbers and done an actual evaluation. I looked at it and went based on as things progressed and as I started to delve more into the actual inventory and evaluating it, that number changed. But we put out the press release well in advance of the event itself. So that press release went out before I had those full numbers. So we went, this is a nice, even number that will grab attention and bring people into the store. So we went with that.
And still, to believe that is accurate at the high end. It was one of those things where when she was looking through and going, it says this and it says this, you don't think even at the high end?
You haven't actually seen this spreadsheet.
No,
You might want to cut that part out.
Hold on, Chad. What did this man just give away?
To his father's house and looking in 3 different rooms with all the sets. It was before I'd actually gone through and had set numbers and done an actual like evaluation. I looked at it and went based on as things progressed and as I started to delve more into the actual inventory and evaluating it, that number changed. But we put out the press release well in advance of the event itself. So that
remember
press release
that.
went out before I had those full numbers. So we went, this is a nice even number that will grab attention and bring people into the store. So we went with that.
And still, I mean, to believe that is accurate at the high end. Like, it was one of those things where when she was looking through and going, well, it says this and it says this, like, you don't think even at the high end?
You haven't actually seen the spreadsheet.
No, I haven't.
You might want to cut that part out because he hasn't actually seen the inventory sheet.
The spreadsheet says about from between 85,000 to 120 something thousand. In the midpoint about 107 or something like that of what was inventory. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this has been a really big point of misinformation to clear up, because if we're ever going to find the missing...
So all of this was because they wanted to catch people's attention with a big-ass number of Legos. Okay. Just say that. Why aren't we just saying that? What in the hell?
We need to start with the right number, the right value. It's about $107,000. Now, between 2023 and 2024, the Gormans record sales of about $24,000 of Brian's collection in their inventory tracking list. And of those sales, Brian was entitled to about 65 to 70% of it. He was paid $17,000, which roughly tracks with that. Which means on November 14th, the big night, the remaining amount of Brian's collection that should have been in there is about $82,000. It doesn't take a genius to realize this is a very different number than corporate provided, who found only $2,000 to $5,000 of it linked to Brian. And later they said they only found $13,000 to $15,000 in total Lego Star Wars.
So you're talking...
What if there was a song about Lost in Translation in the style of
maybe $11,000 to $15,000 total Star Wars, and that's all Star Wars inventory in the whole store.
So that's corporate side of the story, but I didn't want to take their word for it. So I went through Crystal's photos myself, which she shared with me, and hired people to go through and hand tag the Star Wars Legos that were in these photos. We looked through over 200 plus photos, multiple videos, and matched what we saw with Brian's collection. In the end, I ended up with about $21,000 of Legos matching Brian's collection that can be proven to be in the store on the night of November 14th. Now, to state the obvious, that's about 3 to 5 times what corporate estimated, at least on their press release. Now, yes, there are inherent errors in these estimates. Maybe we picked up some Lego that matched Brian's collection, but wasn't Brian's. But even though this is a bigger number than corporate said, I have to admit, even with pretty generous assumptions being made, there's still a huge gap of about $61,000 here that I just couldn't find. But then I learned Brian had made a special side deal with M&R Productions, who had recently purchased some Legos from him. And this is where it starts to get messy. So these are the pictures that M&R Productions sent me, looking at the Lego that Brian sold him. This was stuff reportedly in storage, and it's interesting because of an early inventory list, which had a column called Location that Crystal used. And it listed a lot of the Star Wars items as being located in what they called storage. Now, previously, I was told that all of the stuff in storage was put back in the store, but there's a bunch that's on this list that I can't find in the store that seem to appear in these pictures. Now, I've been assured, by the way, that most of these Legos were not part of the inventory spreadsheet. They were never given to Bricks and Minifigs. This is a separate part of the collection, but I did a check, and 100% of the items that match the Brian collection inventory just so happen to be listed with a location of storage. So this starts to make things incredibly fuzzy, and I'm inclined to believe that a lot of these are part of that same inventory list. Now, if we take that value of the side deal, that's about $10,000 to $20,000 that's not actually missing. Now, it was at this point I started looking more at the point of sales records. I realized maybe we could find some of this missing Lego there too. So this is from the Salem internal store records. Like, I guess this is what is entered when someone does a sale. And it's everything from September 2023 to November 2024 of Star Wars anything. And by the way, before we continue, yes, this was all a lot of work. If you want to, please support us on Patreon. That's how this show gets made. But anyways, according to those records, about $51,000 in sales went through during this time period in a way that matched Brian Mansell's collection. Now, that really worried me because Crystal's inventory list showed only $24,000 in sales for Brian, and Brian was only paid for that amount. But suddenly, I remembered back to a time when I spoke to Crystal, and I asked how much was sold prior to the takeover.
Which is something similar from what you told me, Crystal.
Yeah.
You told me, hey, it was about 50-something thousand.
Yeah.
But Brian was only paid 17,000.
Okay.
And it should have been about double that. And I'm just trying to make sense of that, given that everyone's accusing each other of theft right now. You understand?
I mean, without seeing any of those records, without seeing those individual tickets, I can't answer that any better.
Okay, this is kind of a problem. The math ain't math in here. 65 to 70% of
Both ways,
50,000
math ain't
is almost
mathin'.
double what we believe Brian was paid. And digging into the details, it turns out a lot of these sales come from what Crystal's spreadsheet actually categorizes as layaways, meaning they were marked as having been sold, but layaways are when someone puts a down payment on an item and later pays it off. But the problem was there were a lot of these worth about $20,000 in layaway. And that felt a little strange to me. And because of that, I asked Josh Johnson, the incoming owner, and he responded, quote, there were 2 to 3 items on layaway when they took over.
So on the list of that on the
Currently-
inventory list, do you know about how many layaways
I
there
haven't
were?
gone through and done a count, but I know it was vastly more than 2 to 3.
It was about 98.
That makes
98.
So there were about $15,000 to $25,000 worth of sets on layaway.
Okay.
That's just the part that's surprising. That's the part that I can't get
don't
my
know.
head around. I go,
Yeah.
how could
I don't know,
let
ma'am.
me just be really honest. I don't believe
This is your business. What do you mean I don't know?
there was that much layaway. I don't know. I don't know how that's possible. How could there be that much layaway? I don't know. It's like I don't believe, because I was talking to some people about bricks and minifigs. They go, yeah, there's some layaway. There's not that much layaway. I talked to people who were neutral, kind of on corporate side, but also people who were just normal bricks and minifigs people. They say there's not that much layaway. Help me understand why there's $20,000 worth of layaway here.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely. If you talk to other bricks and minifigs locations, layaway is extremely rare. I think outside of the Brian's collection, I don't.
Okay, good. I'm not crazy here. So then why was there so much layaway there?
No, absolutely not. Outside of Brian's collection, I think at the time we maybe had 2 used sets on layaway outside of his collection.
Okay.
It was not a common thing traditionally. I don't know that we'd ever done layaway before the collection came in. With Brian's collection, it was a little bit different because so much of this collection were new in box, all in one place, reasonably priced, and a lot of the harder to find items. And so customers would come in and put, I'm going to guess probably half of those layaway items were not going to be sold to the person who took them on layaway. Because we had several that would put them on layaway and then change their mind. So this was something like, somebody...
Why does it sound like she was just taking money from people? Doesn't it sound like she was just taking money from people and promising an item and never giving it?
Would come in and want 10 different sets, but only be able to buy 1. Can I put the rest of those on layaway so you don't sell them? I'll pay $10 to put these sets on layaway. Traditionally with layaway, we would ask for 10% down. They'd have 30 days to make their next payment, or we'd refund the layaway amount and then put it back on the shelf. Because this collection was the collection it was.
What does that
I
mean?
wanted to give these people the opportunity to, sorry, dogs, to get these sets. We were a lot more generous with how long and the amount of payments that people could make towards the layaway. So a lot of these, we had several of them. I think one of the Ewok villages, we put on layaway 4 different times, and then it came off of layaway and back on layaway and then off and then sold. So a lot of these would have gone on and off of layaway and then back out on the shelf, just depending on the person who was putting it on layaway. That was completely unique to this collection.
So
our competitors tonight, Tanae and Marcus, who's proven to be an incredibly fast typist, 110 words per minute.
It's not
So
sounding
Tanae-
like it's not sounding like she didn't just take people's money. So I'm just really waiting for the part where it sounds like she didn't do that.
I'll be honest, I don't trust Josh Johnson, but something is weird here.
So a lot of these are, see, like, look at this. Like, so like it says POS final sale price, but it's listed as a layaway, but it's sold for $5.99.
Yeah.
Because it matches with the store sale price.
Okay.
So were they on layaway? Were they accidentally marked layaway on the spreadsheet? What's going
So she did worse. She did worse things, chat. She would sell the item to the person full price and then mark it as layaway so she could yo, that's crazy.
going on there?
I mean, without seeing the actual sales ticket and seeing what else, like what items were sold together, what else was sold with it, I can't actually see the sales ticket. We had several layaway items in which customers were putting multiple things on layaway, paying for most of one item, and then, or they were buying, 8 different things together and then putting all of them on layaway and making payments on multiple items at the same time. Our Ewok village was one of those cases. At some point he had, I think, like 8 or 9 different items on layaway. So they'd come in and make a payment for a bulk payment. I've got 800 things on layaway. I'm going to make $100 on my payment. One customer in particular would do that. And then when he'd gotten up high enough to pay for one set, we'd pull that set out, mark it as sold.
Why does it just sound like she was letting people run up a tab? Bro, you can't. This is insane. This is nuts.
So without seeing the actual tickets and my layaway records, I cannot answer a question any clearer than that.
But I even found more than that in this POS data. I also found about $10,000 in sales that match Brian's collection that were not marked as sold under this inventory spreadsheet.
Some of our things that were not found were explained by the POS system because they were found in the POS system as being sold. So like they weren't marked on the spreadsheet, but they were marked as sold via the POS system. And this is about $10,000 worth of Lego that basically were matched.
Huh. See, and I don't know. Take anything happening from, let's see, sorry, I'm trying to do math here. I don't know without being able to see all of the records. There is a possibility that the consignments were ended when I wasn't at work and I just didn't go through and pull them up. They didn't get put in the consignment ticket. I hadn't gone through those consignments in a couple of months. I hadn't gone through the inventory in the back room in a couple of months. So it is entirely possible there were sales that were finished that I never clocked as being finished. I don't know that without going through and actually seeing it.
But you're saying it's possible stuff was sold, not updated on this inventory list.
It's entirely possible that stuff did not get updated on my spreadsheet. I'm not going to sit here and claim it's not possible. It's possible I missed things.
So where does this leave us? I know some people are jumping to conclusions here, but I must remind you that on the night of November 14th, 2024, Crystal Gorman was concerned about Brian getting paid or not getting paid.
He has not been paid his percentage yet. And if I don't have the tickets, I won't know how much I need to pay him.
Okay. So
So, Crystal, ultimately, also, that's a business thing and not necessarily yours. Brandon will take, just taking on the business, he takes on all that kind of side there.
So obviously, one could see that and say she was intending to reconcile with Brian. Maybe she hadn't gotten around to it. And of course, corporate will probably take a more cynical view of what she's doing by printing these receipts. But the point is, regardless of whose side you're on, I think we can all agree there's a lot of weird stuff here on all sides. Abnormal stuff. Sure, maybe you can chalk some of this up to bad record keeping between the U-Haul, the layaways, the $20,000 in Lego sets that corporate called $2,000 to $5,000 that was there that night, the off-book deals. But even if we can't like fully know 100%, what these weird things were about, I think they tell a story of what actually happened to Brian's collection. In a way, multiple people, I think, are kind of right, kind of wrong. The Gormans were correct that more of that collection was there that night of the takeover than previously thought. But corporate also alleged that some of it was offsite, and that appears to be partly true, although some of that is disputed, and it looks like, way more of the collection was sold and layawayed than Brian was paid for. But all in all, there's a lot less missing than many people think, especially if your starting number is $200,000. I estimated, and I must emphasize, estimated with bad records, that there's only about $10,000 to $20,000 in Lego that isn't explained by one of these sources. This isn't to say Brian's been fully compensated. Much of this Brian wasn't paid for that I know of. So I estimate he's still out about $50,000 to $83,000 for Lego he wasn't compensated for.
Oh my God.
And I think honestly that's something that Bricks and Minifigs obviously should handle and make right. Regardless of what a franchisee does, the new one, the old one, the company behind it must stand behind their product, their service, and I can't imagine a better example of a company doing the opposite. Unfortunately, Bricks and Minifigs has chosen to deflect and dodge responsibility at most opportunities and created a really awful customer experience that has snowballed into this crazy series of events. But instead of taking accountability for that, they've taken an aggressive legal strategy, which I told them personally was a horrible idea. As of writing this, Brian Mansell is being sued for $1.3 million as part of a legal campaign against him and Reckless Ben and any of the associates. Remember, Brian is the same guy who lost all these Legos at Bricks and Minifigs store. And I told the CEO and COO that's ridiculous and they should drop this.
That's crazy.
Look, mistakes have been made by plenty of people here, but there's a lot more people who have inflicted self-owns, the likes of which we've rarely seen, by just choosing the worst possible path at every fork in the road. No pun intended. But the best path to making things right, in my view, is by just making Brian whole and moving on. Drop the aggressive legal strategy. You are a Lego store at the end of the day. You are supposed to be about fun, not about a rerun of Suits. But anyways, that's my investigation. Those are my closing thoughts. And I knew I wanted to approach everyone involved in this whole story with my results and see what they thought to close things out.
Does all that make sense to you? Because I'm showing everyone in this story and saying, hey,
the thing
are
that
any of these numbers blowing your mind, or is any of this crazy to you?
No, it's not crazy. But what's crazy to me, again, like all the photo evidence that both sides have points to there being, sure, $20,000 worth of Lego in this of Star Wars Lego in the store that night, right? I don't know, man. I'm just like, can people understand maybe why there was some confusion and why there was some hesitation when somebody comes in and says, hey, you owe me $60,000 worth of product in Lego, and we go, we don't even know who you are. Like, yeah, Crystal mentioned something about consignment on her way out the door. And we go, sure, we'll get that figured out. But then the guy just walks in and demands $60,000 worth of Lego?
What?
Like, what am I supposed to do other than say, cool, show me, can you show me the proof?
The problem is there's so much of a dispute on the timeline, and this is what's going to make this story so hard to tell, is like, they say, you guys are unreasonable. They tried, and eventually they gave up. But they say they tried, and they were basically met with, like, unreasonable requests, things like that. So well, I think they would say they provided the documentation, and you guys say you need more documentation. So, I mean, that's kind of the
right. A spread, like I understand, a spreadsheet and a contract are a good start.
Yeah.
Instead of spending hours creating metadata for a photo of this truck to put in a catalog or use in a store online, I'm going to show you how you can do it all in Airtable using AI in just a few minutes. So here I've got not just one image, but a bunch. We're going to drop them all in the Airtable and watch the agents go to work. Airtable instantly starts recognizing these images, pulling out all the key metadata from the name, the brand, categories, product description, all right there, all near instantly across multiple images.
My bad.
Yeah,
My fault.
we
I
never
was
got
doing
that.
something.
That
My
was
bad.
never sent to us at corporate, by the way.
Y'all do have the spreadsheet though, yeah? Y'all have the spreadsheet.
That was shared online, but months after we asked for it.
It says it's. I'm so confused. It says I'm on the file right now. It says storage used, owned by BAM Franchising Inc. Owner Salem.or bricksandminifigs.com.
What are you looking at?
It says owner Salem.or at bricksandminifigs.com. That's you guys. It says owned by BAM Franchising Inc. It says created September 6, 2024. And when I look at it, this is the Mansell list, I believe.
So this would have been created under so we have the we own
y'all
the,
definitely have this. Y'all have access to this.
Well, I had no idea. So if this is the first
right,
that anybody has shown me that a spreadsheet was created using Bricks and Minifigs Salem, and all of this stuff was archived. This is the first I've seen that this spreadsheet was created by Crystal, and we don't know how accurate it is, how up to date it was. We don't know a lot of those types of things, and understand. I appreciate you sharing this with us because we had no idea. Again, you don't know what you don't know, and you can't we don't know everything.
Okay.
We don't go looking in every nook and cranny everywhere. We just don't know some of those things. So if that's there, we can now have our team go look for that.
When it comes right down to it, they're going to have to make a judgment call and say, who's telling the truth? The people who were taking all the pictures and say, and we couldn't take pictures of everything the night of, but we're being honest consistently. And the people who are saying, there was $5,000 there. Really? That makes no sense. We've got the evidence, and yes, there's a discrepancy. We acknowledge we did not take pictures of everything. But does that mean that the discrepancy is, and therefore these missing, percentage, whatever that would be, 5%, is some magical other place?
We're scrambling. It sounds like
we
chat.
didn't get pictures of it.
If I messed up,
explanation.
If I messed up on my record keeping, I will take accountability for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible. If my staff didn't draw attention that consignments had left out, so I'd move them to the thing. Any of that, I will take accountability to that. I am more than willing to do that. I need BAM to show me those tickets.
As they promised to do.
I will sit down with Brian and talk this over and figure out what we missed and where it was missed and how it was missed and make that right with him.
I mean, that's new information no one's ever found out. So that's awesome. They're going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars because of their own wrongdoing. They're literally going to destroy their entire company because they're this stubborn over maybe $20,000 worth of Lego.
I'm sure I'll be keeping you in the loop with what
Nice. I'm excited. This was good work. My other final thoughts is, dude, you solved it, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. Wow, they're still suing them. A restraining order is crazy. Bro, why is everybody so crazy? Wow. Wow, chat. Wow. That was literally like Netflix level. Okay, so then I gotta get closer to this computer, and I can't do that with you on my lap, girlie. Come on, it's time for you. Oh my god, guys, do you see her, girlie? Please, okay. Bro, she was holding on. She was gripping. She was gripping onto the freaking desk. That was so cute. Okay. Chat. It's been 35 years. 35 years, chat. No, I'm kidding. So here's the thing, guys. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I can't connect this thing because I need my ID. But your girl doesn't have an up-to-date state ID. Don't ask me why. Reasons. And I just feel as, oh my god, this is still recording. Oh no, wait, I stopped it. Okay. And I just feel like and I forgot that point. What? Okay. I'm not doing that. Right. 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 Mm-hmm. 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 Oh my god. That was scary.
Yeah. All right. What's up, man? Y'all already know, man. It's your boy Drizzy Drake coming to you, man. Whenever y'all in LA, man, tapping with my nigga, man. Don Pax, man. He got all that shit, man. Y'all be putting in your arm. He got that, man. Y'all be off that fence. It's whatever you want to do. Y'all niggas still on them 30s. You got to fuck with Don Pax, nigga. Perk 80s, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Y'all be fucking with them blue, man. Get on them reds, nigga, for real, man. Y'all know what it is, though, man. Tapping with my dog, man. You know what I'm saying? Tap into you, tap out. It's like that. You know what I'm saying? For real. Yeah.
All right, good.
Got it?
Yeah.
All right.
That was
What's up, man? Y'all already
so
know.
crazy. Why is his hair okay? You know what? The way that Drake is, you know, like it's upsetting. It's upsetting. Like, why is he like that? Anyway. Whoa.
Pod edit ready in 5. Chef? Thanks to my Riverside AI sidekicks, I come
Right.
out sounding.
This self-proclaimed alpha male just pleaded guilty to 11 charges in federal court. All of them were for some sort of stalking. And now
Not
he's facing up to
stalking.
55 years in prison. And then on top of that, a fine of up to $2.75 million.
A man from Whitehall Borough who was
Oh.
accused of stalking women he met at local gyms pleaded guilty in federal court.
Bro. Bro, not you being the reason why ladies don't go to gyms, bro. The worst.
To be fair, the guilty plea does kind of make sense considering he incriminated himself on his podcast
Considering
over
he
and over
did
again.
it?
Yeah, if you want to with a 6'2" jack dude who's gonna have a gun permit in Iowa, then yeah, you can come with me, see what happens to you.
So this guy was documenting his entire life in an attempt to, I guess, seem busy and successful to his peers. But it became obvious very quickly that the other people did not look at him the same way he looked at himself. I mean, it would be hard for him to sell some of these public posts as anything else but direct threats.
I spent 20 days in jail. And then last night, I post a story of a girl coming at me, and I said, "You all want to see a body?" Like, thinking like I just bodied this girl. Like, you got absolutely bodied and eviscerated on my story for 7,700 plus people. Why are we doing? Like, why are we doing this? Why can't we just like be friends and like fall in love? What is hard about that? Oh, because you have daddy issues. Oh, your dad didn't love you as a kid, so you have to with me? Oh, okay. Sweet. Love that for me.
Because it seems like he was using ChatGPT as some sort of like therapist and life coach that was essentially just echoing and enabling his insanity. And
Oh my
honestly, how much
God.
accountability are you taking when you're comparing yourself and your wrath, which is, I guess, stalking women in multiple states at gyms, and comparing that to God flooding everything?
You people, like, you look at me and you see my chaos and on my Instagram, you see me calling people out. Jesus did the same thing. God and Jesus are love. They're a lot of love. They're a ton of love, but they're also wrath. God flooded the earth because he's like, you know what? All of you. I hate what you're doing down there. So guess what? I'm all of you. I'm done.
Yeah, that just sounds like some very weird justification to me, but yeah,
Right.
I'm not following here, but who knows? Maybe I'm just not an alpha male enough for this. But you
Yeah.
guys might remember me covering Brett Dadig and his AI-induced psychosis that we covered a few months ago, because this was right after he was arrested and charged with cyberstalking, interstate stalking, and interstate threats. And essentially, the whole guy is one of those cautionary tales that women warn each other about when it comes to men who go way overboard after facing some rejection. Except Brett, in a way, thankfully, was not lurking in the shadows. No, he was broadcasting his every move on his podcast. So that at least made things very easy for law enforcement to put everything together. But essentially, he was portraying himself on the podcast as a highly valued alpha male who couldn't understand why any woman would ever want to reject him.
I mean, let's be real. I'm a handsome guy. I'm a personable guy. I'm very successful at what I do. And I'm successful at most things I do. I mean, it's true. Like, you can think I'm
Then why don't you have a lady?
Go right ahead. I'm confident. If that bothers you, look in the mirror and build some self-confidence. How about that?
I don't chase, I attract. I don't have to chase these girls that don't want to give me the time of day. And I'll just go find one that does give me the time of day.
But in reality, he was just, conveniently tying everything together for the prosecutor to make their job very easy for when court started. Because Brett was essentially building the whole case against himself. The dude was his own star witness because he kept showing evidence of all of his desires to get back at the people who wronged him. And things got so bad that women on Reddit were trying to warn each other of this guy. But in a way, that didn't even help that much because he was already broadcasting where he was, what he was thinking, what he was about to do on his own podcast.
All right, everybody, we made it to Flow. Just pulled in. I'm gonna take you guys with me. We're gonna go to Flow, baby. We're gonna be taking an F45 lifting class today.
This is just a really bizarre situation. Definitely a 2026 problem. You would have never heard about anything like this in the 1990s.
No,
We definitely live in interesting times. Like, what kind of world do we live in? Things are getting bizarre, and I have a feeling that things are just going to get so much more bizarre as we go on. But I guess for almost half a year, Brett lived up to what he was trying to brand himself on his podcast for, which was becoming undeniable. But I guess it wasn't in the way that he was trying to portray himself as. Because, he was trying to become undeniable for women, but now it's undeniable that he broadcasted himself and stalked these women. And, considering he's facing 55 years in prison, he could be spending the rest of his alpha male days behind bars. But if you're not caught up to speed, near the end of 2025, Brett posts, I guess, his first episode of this Dating Decoded podcast, which only seems to have survived one episode for what it seems like obvious reasons.
Good morning, then we go get breakfast. Then she's like, hey, let's meet up later. It's like 8 o'clock, get a shower, meet up with her later in Lawrenceville. Alright. Okay, yeah. You're from the background. Go yourself. Shut the up while I'm talking, please. Thank you. Anyways, she stands me up.
What a great friend group.
Who pisses me off more than any human being in the world, but I still love him.
Because I know that your attention span is very short-lived.
Because obviously the group had some really bad chemistry because everyone was kind of freaked out about how Brett was acting. And we found out later that the group of guys...
I just built a budgeting app with Base 44.
Why?
You just built an app.
So we can all build apps now?
Guys met at a bar just a few days ago, and they don't have too much advice to share.
We're like the same person, but not the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I don't know where to go from this.
I would say we can talk about how we first met.
Yeah, I think you guys.
I think you guys should start off. Do that. The funny.
Friday. The reason why this podcast is happening because when you meet your mate, okay, and you know that they're the person, all right, you might as well go with it. All right, because what's the worst thing that happen? The next day, it's not going to feel like the day that you just had. So just, I don't know.
Very well said.
Just keep going with it.
Especially not considering that Brett clearly didn't
What's that
decode
even
dating
mean?
in the slightest. But like I mentioned, the Dating Decoded podcast ended after one episode, and the group had a falling out due to Brett's unhinged behavior, which I'm sure comes as a surprise to absolutely no one.
And then I posted a deranged video of myself highlighting what I was going to talk about. Video I was going to release at 8 p.m. like as like pay-per-view, come see this beef with me and my friends. That's deranged. Like, I shouldn't have ever done that. It costed me my podcast that I had with my 3 friends. It costed me my membership
at Flow. Most likely it cost me a membership at 45. Like, I lost memberships to all these places. People were like, bro, you are literally unhinged and we don't know what you're gonna say next, and like, we can't have you be around us. Like, we can't do it.
And the episode is actually still up on YouTube, and the comments are just going crazy because of the cyberstalking case that's going on right now with Brett. And I feel like the funniest comment here is the one that says, the one guy with the channel password is in jail, so they can't even delete this. Oh, man. Apparently, this falling out served as the catalyst for Brett to say, well, hey, if they don't want to record a podcast with me, I'm just going to do a podcast with myself. And then he created the podcast called The Standard Podcast, which was his solo adventure about dating and how to become an alpha male and a high-value male.
I want to be the best husband, the best dad, the best brother, the best friend, the best coworker, the best manager. Like I said before, I have a relentless drive to be the best I can be. And that's why I'm making this podcast, so I can share it with you. It's like, I have the chills talking right now. Like, I literally have the chills because, like, I want to share it with others.
And here in this podcast, he would commonly defer to ChatGPT when he needed more, I guess, affirmation regarding his concerning behavior. And I'm sure you probably know, when you're talking to AI chatbots, they can often reaffirm your truths, so you keep talking to it. So, in a way, this can create a very negative feedback loop. Which leads us to probably one of the craziest parts of this whole story is you just have hours of podcast content, which is still up, by the way, of him going into full-on AI psychosis. Because here he just uses the AI to excuse his insanity or amp it up.
I'm just really happy with my growth over this period of time. I use ChatGPT religiously. Like, it's my therapist, it's my best friend, it's
not the best friend.
I wrote this email and I want to make it nice. I will send a text out to someone and I will tell it, hey, analyze my text. Like,
and what I find really shocking is just how much Brett relied on AI for his life. He would go to ChatGPT when he was feeling down. He would go to ChatGPT when he was trying to write messages for dates. He would go to ChatGPT to, I guess, pump out marketing garbage for some of his, like, alpha male jobs. And then he would go to ChatGPT to, like, create these, like, phony companies and create marketing material for these companies. So everything about his life was just being ran through AI. And again, all of this is up on his podcast still. And you have one moment where essentially he was brought to tears because he told AI to make a story about him meeting the girl of his dreams.
it's subtle, but I feel it. The moment this isn't just a thing, not just a fun story. It's in the way you text good morning without fail, the way you ask if I've eaten, the way you never make me feel like I'm too much for having 2 kids. Like, somehow that makes me more, not less. My friends notice the glow, my kids ask when you're coming back, and me, I just keep thinking about that first night at the bar and how lucky I was to sit down 2 stools away. Bro, I might cry. Holy, if a girl felt like this about me, it's so hard, man. I was in jail for 20 days because I just wanted a girl to like me.
On the bright side,
Oh
most
my
red flags in dating
God.
are often
Oh God, this guy is so sad. My guy, don't go to the gym to find a girl. That doesn't make any sense, bro. That doesn't make any sense, chat. Like, what the heck?
kind of hidden, but this one was waving loud and proud. Because to me, this is just the textbook definition of AI psychosis. Because the dude was jobless, he was homeless the way he moved around, and he was banned from a whole plethora of establishments. And then, of course, he was, I guess, loud enough to where there was multiple Facebook groups and Reddits warning other women about this guy. Yet
Facebook
somehow, I guess he
groups.
convinced himself, maybe through AI, that he had authority to teach people how to date. So for months, he moved from city to city, continuously meeting girls he swore were his wife at private gyms, places like yoga and Pilates studios, F45 and Barry's boot camp. And often the girls
It's
that
the
he would
way
become
that
enamored with.
the AI said he would find her in a bar. The way that I would surf all the bars, bro. Why is he going to gyms? I don't
Were
understand.
employees of these establishments and were likely only nice to him because, you know, that's their job to do so. And he would hang around, visit their
so
places of work,
embarrassing.
annoy them online, and then pick up and relocate when he was rejected by them. And the dude overstepped his boundaries so far that he was often banned from the gyms that these women worked at and was even reported to local authorities. And this is all while he was recording all of this for his podcast. And then on top of that, he was posting all of his gripes, which were definitely threats on his Instagram, which were then deleted. So a lot of the Instagram posts that were, I guess, referred to in the lawsuit have been deleted since. But even though his main Instagram account was deleted, he still has a whole bunch of Instagram accounts that belong to him that were his various...
Tell Monday what you need. We're creating an agent and naming him Tony. Now let's get
Why
into
was
context.
one of them
I'm giving
holy bets?
forms of companies, and
Faith fundamentals. What?
all of these companies just seem to be spun up on the spot using
Uh-huh.
ChatGPT, and I think he just lacked the focus to actually just go all in on one project. But he was definitely faking some things pretty blatantly. And then on top of that, he also did a run club, but I guess you can only consider it a run club if running by yourself and calling it a run club is a run club. But anyway, he just continued this pattern because the dude essentially would go to a gym, hit on women there who worked there, and then eventually he would get banned because he kept overstepping. So then he went to a new gym, rinse and repeat, got banned there. And then when he exhausted all the gym options in a city, he would go, uh-oh, I guess we have to move up and go to a different city. And then once he was in a new city, he just repeated the cycle. I mean, this is crazy. And again, this is all while documenting everything on his podcast. And when I say documenting on his podcast, he was name dropping the women, he was threatening them, and calling everyone calling him out haters.
This pod is about a special girl. A girl by the name of... Love you, girly pop. You are the reason that the standard exists.
I mean, this is such a bizarre case. And like the threats weren't like, you know, small threats either. No, he was threatening to do things like light the gyms they worked on fire.
What?
And then he also threatened to strangle people, but then he would like try to reel it in and be like, nah, I'm kidding. I'm changed. I don't actually think that anymore.
I could have said to them, hey, you guys. I could have. And I've been right in that. But that's the old Brett. That's Brett 12 hours ago. This is new Brett.
Yeah, okay, dude. But regardless, when the consequences of his own actions finally came knocking, nobody was surprised except for Brett. And the dude was already arrested in August. He had 2 girls get protective orders filed against him in Pittsburgh, and he was warned about name dropping and making threats about people online more than one time. So when he was finally arrested in November of 2025 for 3 counts of cyberstalking, I guess you could say that he should have seen that one coming. And he was being held waiting for trial when a federal indictment came in December, and that's why I made my last video on him. Because back then, Brett was hit with 14 counts, including cyberstalking, interstate stalking, and interstate threats related to 11 alleged victims in Pennsylvania, as well as Ohio, Florida, Iowa, and New York. Dude was all over the place. He was just being a menace to so many states. Honestly, like, if he wasn't that much of a freak, I would kind of be impressed by how much ground this guy covered, especially in that short amount of time. It seems like the dude essentially dedicated his life to just harassing women at their workplaces. Like, dude... What are you doing? So to the outside world, it seemed like it was pretty obvious that Brett was screwed, but I guess to Brett, he came out and he was going to fight this. So he made a statement saying that he was an upstanding citizen, he's never had any run-ins to the law, and he was mentally stable. Okay. And then obviously a lot of people started speculating, is he going to start blaming ChatGPT for this? Because clearly ChatGPT was like the co-host to his own podcast. Obviously, for legal purposes, ChatGPT nor OpenAI has nothing to do with him other than the fact that he bought a subscription with them and was just talking to ChatGPT on his podcast. Just felt like I needed to know that. But luckily, he doesn't actually try to argue that in this case, because on March 19th, Brett pleaded guilty to 11 counts before the United States judge, Marilyn J. Huron. And now he has a scheduled sentencing for July 9th, 2026. And I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that Brett is probably going to prison for this. Will he get the full 55 years?
How do you wreck your life in a podcast? Why would you dox the woman? I'm so confused. Get proper therapy? That's so funny. Bro. It's so wait, why did he... Wait. Why is... the internet, bro. I don't want to do this. I sincerely don't.
I don't think Jadion truly cares about racism, and I think it'd be a more accurate statement to say that he cares a lot more about his public perception. And I can say this confidently as someone who has spoken to him on various occasions. And I say that because it shouldn't have taken public backlash for a man to cut off a racist. It shouldn't have taken a racist donating to another racist for Jadion to cut him off. The first time I criticized Jadion and his association with Alex was when I was 17 13 and still in school. But Jadion doesn't like criticism, and nor does his audience. But that's the exact reason why we're in this boat today. And I need to make this abundantly clear. The only reason Alex Rosen had the opportunity to donate $10,000 to Chud the Builder is because of Jadion's continued platforming and support of him, despite me and other people telling him he is racist. I think this situation kind of touches on various aspects of the problem of Jadion and his current content creation loop. I think it calls into question his intentions and his morality. How could you continue platforming someone with such anti-black and anti-human ideals? How could you platform someone who clearly does not respect you as an existence? I think the answer is obvious. Jadion had something to gain. And like I said when we were beefing, if you're doing things in the pursuit of gaining, how could you do these things with the properly aligned intentions? I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about today too.
What a time.
You already know Donut Man tripping again, so come tap in. Comment for the algorithm. Now, before I talk about Jadion's video where he officially announces him cutting off Alex Rosen, even before I talk about who Alex is, I need to give you guys some context on Chud the Builder and why this is so crazy. Chud the Builder was one of those Christian free speech patriots from the right, and his entire content loop was live streaming himself provoking black people so he could fit the legal definition of self-defense so he could kill them legally. And I mean this full stop. This is one of the most sinister things anyone could do. Trying to provoke someone just so you can kill them with no repercussions, there's no defense for that. And it was so visceral, so sinister that even someone like Nick Fuentes couldn't get down with that. And Nick Fuentes is a literal white supremacist.
Not it being too much for Nick.
You're doing. Clearly there's something wrong going on. It's one of the most dystopian displays of internet I've seen. In the modern era of 2026, you have white supremacists, racist people going out trying to kill black people under the guise of self-defense.
We're in America, bro. They want to threaten your life. You take theirs. You put them on the ground. Then you go live on Kick. You say, look at this dumb laying dead on the ground.
Oh, dude,
that's how you go. That's how you go viral. You'll get double the followers you got. I guess.
To go viral. Like I don't think that's spreading a great message.
Yeah, I don't want to have to. If they threaten your life, dude, you do it. You gotta stand up for your own. What do you back down? You say, oh no.
They're just kind of promoting division in the world, though, right? Like two wrongs don't make it right, you know?
No, because it teaches them. No, it goes back to not lying to them. It teaches them the truth that they have no power over you as a man simply because your skin's lighter than theirs.
So very clearly, this would be premeditated murder. This is not right. This isn't moral. And this is someone who Alex Rosen decided to donate $10,000 to. And what makes this really crazy is the only person who's really surprised is Jadion.
Why exactly,
knew that Alex was a bad guy. And it's not out of his character for him to donate to someone like Chud the Builder. But what it does do is it puts a very bad look on Jadion and his brand, because even though he may be doing something that is a net positive to society, and I even go as far as to say Jadion is one of the better predator catchers on the platform, but this does reflect very poorly on his branding, which is why I think he finally cut him loose, but I'll talk more about that later. I'm just trying to say I'm not surprised that Alex would support this, because if you actually go to his Twitter and just type in nigger, you'll see a bunch of tweets of him using this word. Alex is another person who is similarly on the whole free speech patriotism thing where they think they could say anything with no consequences.
So I'm hoping to bond him out. You know, I myself am a free speech absolutist, and
absolutist is crazy.
I don't think he should be in jail right now.
It's when people violently try to say that nuance doesn't exist, and it's like, why? Why are you alive? Anyway.
They fundamentally misunderstand that free speech protects them from the government and not their interactions with fellow private citizens. Yeah. It's one of the most ignorant positions to take in order to say slurs.
You'll get these
That's
hands.
All I'm gonna say. But not only is Alex typing these slurs, he's literally going out and saying them.
A lot of people, you know...
Going out and saying it is crazy to say in this environment. Chat, is this actually going out and saying it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm picturing him doing it in a club, in the city. He out here in the woods.
And I'm just showing you guys this to further get the point across that this was not a red line for Jadeon. This was not a boundary he was willing to set. There was a reason why Jadeon could continuously overlook someone who has consistently shown that he disregards his existence in his community. Jadeon was able to overlook someone dehumanizing his audience and his people because he gained something from it. So it really bothers me that Jadeon is acting surprised that Alex went on a Twitter space to talk about prioritizing supporting Chud the Builder over catching predators.
Have to get together and get this guy out of jail for real. Like, to do it by telling the truth, do it by contributing a little bit. But man, I'm serious, bro. If y'all saw that live stream, write a statement to his lawyer and come testify against this shit. Like, you know, do this lawfully. But man, come on, guys. That person should not have any fucking victory party, bro. I will literally prioritize this shit over even catching the pedos, because that just pissed me off, man.
And this is exactly why we need to still be able to criticize these predator catchers, because not all of this stuff is done in good faith. Not all of this stuff is done with the proper mindset. This guy is so racist. He's willing to tarnish his legacy of helping children to support someone who is willing to take innocent lives off the planet just because they have mental issues. But I'm not surprised, and anyone who's actually seen Alex Rosen would tell you this is within character. And the only person who is surprised is Jadeon. And I want y'all to keep in mind, Alex is currently in court testifying on behalf of Chud Builder. And like I said at the start of my video, a big reason Alex is even in this position is because Jadeon has continuously put a spotlight on his content, on his brand, and he's used his bigger platform in order to elevate Alex. And through elevating this racist person knowingly, he has given him enough funds and enough ground to support another racist person. A racist person who is trying to kill black people.
Why? There's just so much. This
is Alex. This is a producer who just got invited to work with a big artist tonight, but he's not done with his beat yet.
Sneako is finally coming after white America, and I hate to say it, but the nigga was speaking facts. The only caveat is that it appears he's only going after white America because he had a falling out with his white supremacist ex-boyfriend Nick Fuentes.
What is going on?
And this is only after all the anti-black grifting that Sneako has been doing. He's profited so much off of disparaging the black community, and only after him and his ex-boyfriend have a fallout, now does he want to attack white America. White America has had so many flaws and is in need of so much criticism, but this dumbass grifting piece of shit only wants to do it because his white supremacist boyfriend doesn't want to lay in bed with him anymore. You tripping? Bro, it's not because he likes men, it's because he likes a white supremacist. Look, when I got a bunch of clips of Sneako cooking white America, and honestly, I just wanted to react to it with you guys. I wanted to give my commentary on the things he's actually saying, and I wanted to give props where they're due. With all this anti-blackness that runs the internet, it's refreshing to see actually good criticisms levied on a large platform. But I got some good tea for you today, twin, so come tap in.
All right, let's do it.
The first thing I need to talk about is Sneako's separation from Nick Fuentes, because him talking about white America did not come out of nowhere, and his recent criticisms of white America and the white community don't feel like they're coming from his heart, but rather because he's doing something in retaliation. Now, I'm pretty sure the beginning of the end of Sneako and Nick Fuentes' relationship was when Sneako platformed Dan Bilzerian, and despite whatever Dan Bilzerian may be doing, like I told y'all in that video, I don't really know the guy too well outside of the Jamari videos I seen, but Dan Bilzerian brought it to attention that Nick Fuentes was not only telling people not to talk about Israel, but he was also profiting off of Jeffrey Epstein merch and saying he's a cool guy, and he even said that Jeffrey Epstein was not a PDF file.
Wow. Everybody would say, I would never go, me, Epstein Island, I would never. And it's like, dude, you're telling me Jeffrey Epstein was probably so cool. Like, he was probably the coldest, coolest guy you know. Not ready for that conversation, but Jeff Epstein, not a file, but you're not ready for that conversation. All of his victims, 14 to 17. That's not pedophilia.
So it's not like Sneeko initiated this
What's
breakup.
going
It's not like
on,
Sneeko took the
actually?
first step and said, you know what? I'm not gonna defend someone who is defending Epstein. I'm not gonna defend someone who's profiting off of Epstein merch. And I'm not gonna defend someone who is actively telling people to not talk about the one thing that I'm against, which is the Israel lobby. Sneeko is only breaking up with Nick Fuentes because he's doing things like weaponizing his audience against Sneeko. Sneeko is only seeing the truth because now Nick is against him. It wasn't the Epstein stuff. It wasn't the Israel stuff. It's the fact that Nick is finally turning against him. And I think that is very telling of who Sneeko is. This grifting piece of shit does not care unless things affect him. And you see that echo in the same way he treats black problems.
I
Niggas
mean,
only
that's
care about free speech
a
when
lot
it's
of
about
people
Islam, though.
nowadays, I
That's the
feel like.
Sneeko MO, in other words. But
Yeah.
Nick Fuentes would obviously not appreciate this recent spring of anti-white commentary that's been pushed by Sneeko, and he would obviously respond himself. So let's take a look at that clip.
Something is going on with Sneeko. I don't know if you have noticed, but he needs to be called out. I don't know what has gotten into him. I don't know what his deal is. But have you noticed that every single day for basically the past week, all I see on Twitter are clips of Sneeko hating on white people? Have you seen this? Every day, every week, it's a new clip of Sneeko unloading on white people, saying the real tragedy in the killing of Henry Novak is that his killer was suspected to be Muslim, but really he was Sikh. And imagine the blowback on innocent Muslims if he was Muslim. And then I see another clip today. There is no white genocide. You guys just aren't having high enough birth rates. Then I see another clip. White people have this victim mentality. White people are terrible. And then it's another clip. White people don't shoot and stab each other like black people, sure, but they do cause wars and drop bombs on people. White people worship their skin color. White people worship a brown Jew from Palestine. It's seriously disturbing. It's almost like he is blaming all white people for our falling out.
And this right here exposes the grift. These are such insecure people. You couldn't even take a fraction of the hate. And actually, no, scratch that. Shit's not even hate. The stuff Sneeko's been saying about white people
That
is
was
just
so
fundamentally
crazy.
true. White people are the ones who weaponize this victim mentality. All you need to talk about is, what are these minorities doing? What are black people doing? What are trans people doing? White people are the biggest enablers of this victim complex. And these niggas can't even take a fraction of truth. Not the hate that they attack us with, but they can't even take a fraction of truth. That's how you know they're grifters. Nick has no problem batting for Epstein. He has no problem putting down black people. But when Sneeko gives a fraction of truth about the white community, now all of a sudden it's sickening, it's disgusting, and there's something wrong with Sneeko. Man, eat a dick, nigga. Dead ass. You might be getting beside yourself, gang. Not at all. But like I told y'all, Nick Fuentes was weaponizing his community against Sneeko. And one of the things that he ended up doing was having his groypers go and target Sneeko via the TTS. And before I even show y'all the clip, that's really stupid because you're just giving him money. Yeah, you might be quote unquote cyber harassing him, but you're filling his pockets to do so. These internet parasocial communities be so fucking stupid.
Hitler hype, and nobody cares as he's a genius and our future emperor.
Why are you in here talking to me?
No one was ready for
No,
what just
legit.
happened. C-Dance 2.0 just dropped and keeps your character consistent. Before this,
Why are then get out of my? Why are these these people? Do you see the issue? Like, why are you here giving me money? Are you like mentally ill? What the? Go conquer something. Do something.
Yeah.
Why are you giving me money? This is our emperor. This is our. Okay, first off, you're. Go worship Christ, right? Christ is king, not some streamer. What is wrong with you? Are you retarded?
Yeah.
And then why are you here? Go donate to the white people who's they're being genocided, right? Go donate to the white genocide. These people are just gone, bro. What happened to white people?
Yes, Sneeko. Internet edgy white boys are mentally ill. Who would have guessed?
Oh
And
my
these are the same people that you
God.
pandered to for a very long time. These are the same people that you were just pandering to when you were defending Chud the Builder. These were the same people you were pandering to when you kept profiting off of your anti-blackness. It's like the niggas acting surprised like these aren't the people that he's been making millions off of, bro. Y'all can't take these grifting pieces of, I can't keep cussing, but you just can't take this guy seriously. seriously. Why are you truly surprised that a group of people that call themselves groypers who worship a white supremacist are raiding you? These are people who attack black people without reason, and people who attack others without reason are clearly insecure. They have something they need to protect, something they need to compensate for. And what they're compensating for is a lack of self, a low self-esteem. These are people with unstable mental foundations, and they're projecting it onto the world. So Sneeko, stop being surprised.
Damn, that's crazy. Damn, that's crazy, chat. It's like, what? Why? So much why is in my heart right now. Okay. All right, peoples. I don't know what to do. We can either end, or I could like flop, or let's just end. Let's just end here. I'm just gonna flop around if I don't. All right, people, party people. It's about time to head on out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah. Bye.